Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we will discuss about primitive data types, how many primitive data types we have in the Java and what they have an impact on storage, like how many bits or bytes they took to store in database and where they store in heap memory or stack. So total we have 8 primitive data types in Java: int, short, byte, long, float, double, character, and boolean. So we will discuss in detail one by one. So first of all primitive data types are stored in stack. So its storage type is stack. Okay, so first we will discuss about int. And int we have main value and max value. So minimum value that int can store is this with minus sign, which is basically a signed value, and its max value is this. So if you don't initialize it and only declare it like int default, so its value default value is 0. Okay, so if we talk about its memory size, so it takes 32 bits in memory. So our next primitive data type is byte. So it's same like integer, but it take very less memory. As it's take less memory, so its minimum value and maximum value will also be short, or you can say shorter than int. So mainly int is used at those places where you need to store some large data, like IDs or salaries of your employees. And if you have to store a very short value, like number of sessions that a user can have, so you can store it in byte. So it take 8 bits, and if same like int, if you don't initialize it, just declare it uh, byte default, so it's also get initialized by 0. So our third primitive data type is short. So it lies between byte and integer. If you want to store some data that is less than int, and you want to save its memory but it's larger than byte, so you can store it in the short. So this short takes 16 bits in memory in stack, and if you don't initialize it, just declare its variable, then it will also be initialized by 0. Okay, so it's basically a type of int with lesser memory but greater than byte. So our fourth data type is long. So there is another way to get min and max value rather than specifying it in the like this integer. You can get min and max values by this functions from the non-primitive data type, and it's basically 64-bit integer, not integer long. If you don't initialize its value, just declare the variable, then it will also be initialized with 0 by default. Okay, our fifth primitive data type is float. So we can get its min and max value by using the same approach that we have used for the long. And it's a 32-bit integer with a default value. If you don't initialize it, just declare the variable, so its default value will be 0, 0.0. And you can use it to save numbers which are not very large in size, but they have decimal value, so you can store it in the float. But if you have a value that is larger than float, so Java also provides support for that. And we have our sixth primitive data type for that, which is double. So it's a basically 64-bit data type. It takes 64-bit in the memory. If you don't initialize its variable, then its variable is automatically initialized with 0, 0.0. So as you can see, it's a 64-bit, and it is double in size with respect to float. So if you have some value which is larger than float size, so you can store it easily in double. So for now we have discussed six primitive data types, and all of them deal in integers or in float value in double. What if we have to store some value with true or false? So for that we have a primitive data type named boolean. So it's basically only a single bit data type, and its value either be true or false. So if you don't initialize its values by yourself, then by default it's initialized to false. So it's very useful in decision making in while using in if statements and if else statements for the loops breaking, and there are many other areas where we can use it, and it's very light on memory. As you can see, it's only a single bit. So and for those now who are not new to programming, so you can easily understand, like we use boolean a lot. So here come our last but not the least primitive data type, which is character. So we can store character single character as well, and also we can assign it a value. So at last but not the least comes our eighth primitive data type, which is character. So it can have a single character or it can have integer value with maximum of 65,535. If I put 6, then it will give me an error saying that you are providing an int, because this value can easily handle in print and required data type is character. So you can see its maximum value is this, and it takes 16 bits in the memory, and it's very useful in our normal daily programming. When we write code, we use it mainly for flags, because for flag we can simply we can use boolean as well, but we use character as well. So that's all for today video, and I hope you have liked the video. And if you have any questions or if any suggestion, please put in the comment box, and please let me know if you want to learn some new topics or some other things. I will definitely make the video on them. So that's it for today. Please like, share and subscribe. Take care. Bye.